It's August 20th, 2021. I did some stuff that I saw in the news media about the Pentagon earlier. It's a Friday. Then Linda and Lewis went out to some restaurant. I think they said Huntington, I don't know. With people I don't know. And so I asked Anthony for money to get myself dinner, which he gave me, which was nice. But I went to call Jaynes, and Jaynes, around the corner, did not pick up the phone. It kept disconnecting. Now, when I really looked at the phone number and the set of numbers, the woman that owns the store, the shop, and the restaurant is not allowed to have any of the alphanumerics for which she was assigned by some phone company. PHONECOMPANY. Now, those are sacred numbers in her whatever. And the long sequence of sacred numbers does not belong to her linear or genetic, and I've got a much bigger problem going on in New York. So, I am not angry with her per se. I am not angry. I am more angry with the phone company than I am with the woman at the moment for this one purpose. So I went in, I tried my phone, I tried Linda and Lewis's landline, which is still digital, cordless, and then I tried looking it up on Google. Maybe I had the wrong number or whatever. Okay, so then I went into the store. I walked into the store to order the food. And I said, Jane, I said, did you know your phone is not working? She says, yes. She says, it had this loud, I mean, for me, it would be a fax number, a fax transmission. FAXTRANSMISSION. However, for her, she said it had a loud noise. Right, got it. Okay. So, no phones are coming in. I said, well, I thought I would just mention it. I said, I tried calling before I came. But while I am here, if I could order, please. So I ordered chicken quesadilla. There was a gentleman in the back that I don't know. He looks like a different lineage than she in the front that owns the store. So now, I had my umbrella with me. I was watching on the TV, I was reading the captions for the words that go along symbology with the CUOMO, Governor Cuomo issue up in Albany. So I said to Jane, it sparked me. I said, Jane, I said, let me ask you a question. Oh, while I was sitting there, I also noticed outside in the parking lot, there was this color car paint with two dark-skinned, I would call them Central American at the moment, Central Mexico, because I met a Central Mexico man that it assigned himself that visualization ID for me at Besieged. So I'm going to use that for the moment. It might change, but, and I don't mean disrespect if I know that there's 17 nations of, I don't want to get involved. It's just a one-time reference. So, we'll just use Central Mexico since my one sexy Italian leg has the same color flag, less the whatever. All right, so that's that. So then I looked up, I was looking at the police building, and I was just doing visual recon as I sat at the table waiting for my food. And I noticed what I would call detective, but it's not a metropolitan detective. It's not, I mean, I couldn't tell from my seat where I was, but it was wearing, up at the top, it was wearing like a lavender button-down shirt. So, like, some would call purple, lavender, violet, something along those lines, because it's a sliding scale of understate. Oh, it was wearing this color. Let's see, in a shaded, there we go, there, That's a lavender. If I put these two together, it comes out a little bit. So it's not so bright. Yeah, it gets a little, I don't know. It's not coming out the way it should, but whatever. So, so that's what he was wearing on top of the NYPD building in the precinct 111. It looked like he was smoking a cigarette, but he was all the way on Rooftop wearing that color shirt. Oh, watch. We'll put it next to my wearing this color. That color. All right. So, and again, there was two men in Jayne's parking lot with Central Mexican color skin, for the moment, being a dark butterscotch. Whatever. So I just sat there with my umbrella and my outfit. So then I got up and I went over to Jayne, and I said, Jayne, let me ask you a question. I was like, where do you come from? And she wouldn't, like, startled. And I said, your lineage, like, your nationality, like, where do your people come from? Because, I mean, like, I know it's not America. I know it's not New York. So anyway, so she was like, Korea. And I'm like, right, there's that sliding scale of truth. I was like, all right, so your people are Korea. All right, so now in Korea, I was like, have you ever heard of the Slavic people? Like the Slavic, Slovenian, like Eastern European, anything? And she's like, no. And I'm like, your people have never heard of Slavic people ever? And she's like, no. And I'm like, right, okay. So I was like, well, I am Eastern European looking Slavic. SLAV. So this way we get this straight. And I said, because here in this America, in New York, the news media presents this slave thing. And she got like a little, and I was like, now hear me out. The word Slav is spelled S-L-A-V. It pertains to my looking and my color people. If you put an E, the letter E, on the end of the word Slav, you get the word slave. That's the sound it makes. In America, New York, within my lifetime, there is this newscast media that has BLM movement and these black people who are taking on an identity of slave and making it a victim mentality. I was like, but the persona and the ID does not belong to the people that are claiming they are slave. You cannot claim to be a slave if you're not a Slav. If you're not Slavic or Slovenian. That would be Albanian, possibly Romanian, and possibly, I said Albanian, Romanian, and I said one other one, not to leave them, and Slovenian. Right. I'm like, that's the area, kind of, sort of, in a not really way, for your purpose, for your Korean purpose. So now I said, the problem is like I said, within my lifetime, I was like, you know, this here, they have a history. I don't know if you watch Korean news or if you're watching American news. Because if I'm watching just the American news and listening to these dark-skinned people who have no history being slaves or Slavs at all, we have no word for them in where I come from, in Albanian, Slovenian, Slovakian, and like Romanian, and Eastern European. They are Barbados. I mean, like, again, I didn't even go into that. But it's like, they've come here and they've taken on this persona, and they say that they are these things, but they are not. It is dangerous. I said, I'm telling you right now, I am the only one who can portray what a slave means because I am Slovenian, I am Eastern European, I am a Slav. So she was like, oh, and I said, and since you're Korean, did not know, I also want you to know that the people here in New York have a history. They teach it in the American school. There was a Louisiana Purchase, which had to do with something important with the real natives. And there was a French and Indian War. Again, it's currently going on, I said. I'm a civilian, and I know the French and Indian War still goes on to this day in this area. I was like, and also there was a Louisiana Purchase. That is a really important factor. They teach about it in the school as a concept. I just don't know if the facts are 100% right, because we have a BLM problem of a Black Lives Matter. And when they say Black Lives Matter on this American news, they do not specify whether they mean the dark-skinned people that keep trying to make themselves important for some reason, or whether it's black children, like nationality split between another nation, like where you come from and then you wind up here, and they try to negotiate back and forth with one another. I was like, that is not what that's not what these children in America have been doing in my lifetime that I am aware of. And it's a big problem for safety and security. Now, I say that because the two men in the black truck and the one on the NYPD 111th precinct in the lavender shirt may have a problem in the near future if they can't get their national security story straight with one white chick. One Eastern European, Slovenian, Dutch, Deutschland, I don't really give a shit. And I told her I'm Soviet. Look at me. I said, I am what a true Soviet is. I am the height of a Soviet. Soviet is the number 5, 0, and then the number VI is Roman numeral for 6. I am a Soviet. I said, again, the Americans, I have not heard them teach my part correctly, not once, in my entire time I am here. And she was like, oh. And I don't know where the cook went in the back. I think he was probably hovering, just listening for his people, which may or may not be the people in the black truck in the parking lot. Just saying. So, with that being said, now that we've all met each other in a not really way, it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. I am still Nicole Catarusa. I am still star 1978, star 8378. I am still not with the respectable that I was built for and I was born for in predestined marriages. I come from a world where he found me at age 6. He kissed me and it was heaven, and he was coming back. He came back when I was 9, and he says, you are my woman, I'm marrying you, that is it. Thank God, that made every life so easy. But then he never got to come back and take me happily ever after, because there's too much New York in our way, and too much humanness in our way. He and I are alien happily ever after. We do not, I am here existing, but not very well. And I really don't care for any of your humanness or your emotions or your stories or any obstacles that you keep throwing in his direction. Star 1978, star 8378.